Hi, this is Kimberly Floyd of TakeBackYourTemple.com. I created this special book review video of the book Women, Food, and God by Janine Roth, who covers the important topic of overcoming compulsive overeating. Now, I wrote this book review not for people who have already purchased the book, but for those who are considering purchasing the book and were drawn to it by God in the title, as I was. Now, just to give you a bit of background, I struggled with emotional eating, compulsive overeating for over 20 years, but I ultimately ended up overcoming that through the power of God, and I lost 85 pounds. And the God that I discovered during that process was a God who loved me without limit and who cared for me. So I was hoping to see that God in Women, Food, and God, but I was ultimately disappointed. And I think it's important that you know the author's views about God before you purchase, and then that way you can make a more informed decision about it. Now, I'm going to state the author's views and give you the page numbers, and then you can look it up yourself as you're browsing through the bookstore. And then I will also, after that, tell you what I discovered about God during my own healing about binge eating. So these are Janine Roth's quotes on God from Women, Food, and God. It doesn't matter whether we believe in one God, many gods, or no God. I don't believe in the sky dweller, the knower of all things, the granter of prayers. I don't believe in the God most people call God. God has been here. She is you. The God that Janine Roth speaks of in the book has limited power and is even weak. She says that God does not know everything, that God does not grant prayers, which means that God does not talk to you, and when you pray to him, God does not even hear when you talk to him. And finally, she says that God is in fact you. Now, I think personally that telling others that they are God is a destructive idea. In fact, trying to control everything as if I were God was what led me to binge eating in the first place. It doesn't lead to greater freedom. In fact, it leads to greater bondage because of the stress. Life challenges and my own character weaknesses showed me very quickly that I am not God. And that's fine. I'm human. I learned during the process to surrender control to God and to be content as a beloved creation rather than the creator. So in my own healing, I discovered that these beliefs that Janine Roth has are false. So I didn't finish the book. I found God during my healing process to be a God of love, a God of power, a God of relevance, one who had the power to change my heart and the power to change my life. God loved me enough to leave me his word, and he provides real answers on which I can build my life and regain emotional stability. In fact, God's name, I am, which is stated in Exodus 3:14, says that God is present with me and knows me perfectly, as King David says so beautifully in Psalm 139. And I'd just like to take a moment just to read you a few of those verses, because they will tell you how God perfectly knows you and cares for you. Now, just to tell you, if you're suffering emotionally, if you're hurting, if you need comfort, then I highly recommend the book of Psalm, because that will give you new strength and confidence in God's care and love for you. So let me just go ahead and read a few of these scriptures for you. Just a moment, and I want you to meditate and think about them for just a second. O Lord, you have searched me and known me. You know my sitting down and my rising up. You understand my thought afar off. You comprehend my path and my lying down, and are acquainted with all my ways. For there is not a word on my tongue, but behold, O Lord, you know it altogether. Where can I go from your spirit? Or where can I flee from your presence? If I ascend into heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in hell, behold, you are there. If I take the wings of the morning and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even there your hand shall lead me, and your right hand shall hold me. For you formed my inward parts. You covered me in my mother's womb. I will praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are your works, and that my soul knows very well. How precious are your thoughts to me, O God! How great is the sum of them! If I should count them, they would be more in number than the sand. When I awake, I am still with you. The name I Am gives me confidence that I don't have to live in fear, anxious, or depressed like I used to. God leads me and guides me and helps me to make right choices as I turn to Him in prayer. Because my identity is in I am emotionally secure and stable at last. I am God's child because He says that I am. And in fact, my favorite name for God is Abba Father, which is translated Daddy God. And the reason that name means so much to me is that my father abandoned me when I was a child, but God assures me that He will never leave me nor forsake me. God's word tells me in Jeremiah 29:11 that God has thoughts of peace towards me, not of evil, and He wants to give me a future and a hope. So again, the God I was hoping to see in Women, Food, and God was the God that I came to know, the God who changed my life and healed me of binge eating, the one that I came to know through my faith in Jesus Christ, the God of love, the God of power, the God of strength, might, and relevance. And if you're seeking that God, then you will not find Him in the book. So if you're seeking a godly solution to healing binge eating, then please come to www.takebackyourtemple.com and you'll receive my free special report, which is Overcoming Emotional Eating God's Way. Thank you, and God bless you.